When it comes to lasting longer in bed, most men immediately jump to techniques, exercises, or even supplements. But before you can truly make progress, you need to understand why this happens in the first place. Because lasting power isn't just about what's happening below the waist, it starts with what's happening in your mind. The truth is, premature ejaculation isn't a sign of weakness or something being wrong with you. It's a pattern your body has learned over time. And the beautiful thing about something that's learned is that it can be unlearned. Let's take a moment to think about how early climax develops for so many men. From a young age, many are conditioned to associate speed with success. Whether it's from fear of being caught during private moments or from unrealistic portrayals of sex in media, the message becomes clear: finish fast, get it over with. That conditioning trains your brain to view arousal as something that must reach its peak quickly. Over the years, that automatic response becomes deeply ingrained, almost like a reflex you no longer control. So when you enter a real intimate experience, your body follows the same script. Excitement builds, tension rises, and before you even realize it, it's over. But here's what most men don't realize: you're not broken. You're simply responding to years of wiring that can be changed with awareness and patience. The first step in the five-step method is to shift your mindset from panic to understanding. Instead of thinking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What is my body trying to tell me?" This small change in perspective immediately reduces shame and allows you to approach the issue with curiosity instead of fear. Because when your brain feels safe, your body naturally performs better. Anxiety and performance pressure, on the other hand, activate your sympathetic nervous system, the same system that prepares you to run or fight. And in that state, your body is designed for short bursts of energy, not sustained pleasure. The mind plays a far greater role in sexual stamina than most people realize. When your thoughts spiral into worry, "Will I last this time?" Or "What if she's disappointed?" your body reacts by tightening muscles and shortening breath. You begin to chase control instead of flow, but sex isn't meant to be a performance. It's an experience of connection, rhythm, and presence. The moment you start analyzing every sensation, you disconnect from that experience, and the anxiety cycle begins again. That's why understanding your triggers, whether they're mental, emotional, or physical, is essential to taking back control. Many men think lasting longer requires just physical tricks or positions, but those are temporary fixes if the mental foundation isn't solid. When you understand your body's signals, the heartbeat quickening, the breath shortening, the muscles tensing, you start to recognize the early signs before the point of no return. That's awareness, and awareness is power. It gives you the ability to step back, breathe, and guide your body rather than being swept away by it. In fact, one of the most empowering realizations you can have is that early ejaculation isn't a failure, it's feedback. Your body is simply telling you that your nervous system is overstimulated. And once you understand that, you can begin to retrain it through calm, intentional practice. It's like teaching your body a new language. The more you listen and respond patiently, the better it learns to stay balanced under excitement. Now, I know it's not easy to unlearn years of habits overnight, but the change begins the moment you stop judging yourself and start observing yourself. The moment you decide to become curious instead of critical, that's where transformation happens, because lasting longer in bed isn't just about endurance. It's about self-awareness, emotional control, and learning to sync your mind and body. Once you master that internal connection, everything else, techniques, exercises, even confidence, naturally falls into place. So before you move on to the next steps, give yourself permission to slow down and reflect. Don't rush to fix what you don't fully understand. Learn your patterns, notice your thoughts, and pay attention to how your body reacts under pressure. Awareness is the foundation of every lasting change. And once you've built that foundation, everything that follows becomes more effective, more natural, and more fulfilling. Because the truth is, control in the bedroom doesn't start with your body, it starts with your mind. And when your mind is calm, confident, and connected, you'll not only last longer, you'll enjoy every second of it. One of the most powerful yet overlooked tools for lasting longer in bed isn't found in a pill, a cream, or even a technique, it's your breath. Your breath is directly connected to your arousal, your emotions, and your level of control. The way you breathe can either send your body into overdrive or guide it into calm, balanced rhythm. And once you learn how to use it consciously, you begin to unlock a level of control most men never realize they have. Think about it. How do you breathe when you're nervous, anxious, or excited? Your breath becomes shallow, rapid, and tight. That's your body's natural stress response, signaling that something intense is happening. During intimacy, that same pattern often takes over without you noticing. Your breath shortens, your muscles tense, your heart rate spikes, and all of that pushes you closer to climax faster than you'd like. The secret to lasting longer isn't about fighting that sensation, it's about learning to breathe through it, because when your breath slows, your body follows. Most men treat arousal like a race, something that builds and builds until it explodes. But when you learn to align your breath with your body's rhythm, you start to experience intimacy more like a dance, slow, fluid, and completely in sync. Deep breathing signals to your nervous system that you're safe, that you don't need to rush, that you can enjoy what's happening instead of bracing for it to end. It keeps your parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for calmness, relaxation, and endurance, in charge. Try this. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale through your mouth for 6. Feel how your body instantly starts to soften, the tension in your chest eases, your heartbeat steadies. That's the power of your breath. It grounds you in the present moment. During intimacy, when you sense that you're reaching the point of no return, shift your attention to your breathing. Instead of panicking or trying to distract yourself, take control of your breath. Lengthen it, deepen it. Imagine each breath cooling your arousal just enough to maintain balance. You're not stopping pleasure, you're expanding it. Many men think that lasting longer means suppressing desire or avoiding stimulation, but that's not true at all. The goal isn't to shut down your arousal, it's to ride it, to stay right at that edge without falling over it. Breathing gives you that control. It's like surfing a wave. You don't fight the current, you move with it, keeping your balance as it rises and falls. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to recognize when you're losing control and bring yourself back into rhythm. You'll notice something else remarkable too. When your breathing slows, your partner feels it. Your energy becomes calmer, more confident, and more connected. You stop rushing, you start feeling, and that shift changes everything. Not just your endurance, but the emotional depth of the moment. Instead of being caught in your head, worrying about lasting, you're present in your body, aware of every breath, every touch, every sound. That presence alone can transform an average experience into something unforgettable. This isn't just a mental trick, it's physiological. Slow, steady breathing increases oxygen flow, supports better circulation, and helps regulate your heart rate. All of these contribute to longer stamina and greater control. When you practice this regularly, even outside the bedroom, during workouts, meditation, or stressful moments, you train your body to stay composed under intensity, and that composure carries over naturally when it matters most. It's important to remember that your breath is not just a tool for control, it's a gateway to pleasure. When you breathe deeply, you enhance your awareness of sensation. You begin to notice subtle shifts in your body that you might have missed before. The tingling warmth, the pulsing rhythm, the slow build. You learn to enjoy the journey, not rush the destination. And ironically, the more you slow down, the longer and more satisfying the experience becomes for both of you. Breath control is one of those small changes that lead to massive results. It costs nothing, requires no equipment, and can be practiced anytime. The next time you're intimate, focus less on lasting longer and more on breathing slower. Let your breath become the metronome that sets your pace. Feel how it connects you, to yourself, to your partner, and to the moment unfolding between you. Because when you master your breath, you master your body. And when you master your body, you no longer chase control, you embody it. That's when lasting longer stops being an effort and becomes a natural expression of balance, awareness, and confidence. When it comes to building real control and lasting power, one of the most effective tools you can learn is understanding how to manage your body's physical responses through specific, time-tested techniques. The truth is, most men go through intimacy without ever truly learning where their own limits are, where that point of no return actually begins. The stop, start, and squeeze methods are designed to help you identify that exact moment and take control before it's too late. They're not about restriction or holding back. They're about awareness, confidence, and training your body to respond the way you want it to. Let's start with the stop-start method, which is essentially a way to teach your body to delay climax by pausing at the right time. During arousal, you'll notice a gradual buildup of pleasure that starts to intensify. The closer you get to climax, the faster that intensity rises. Most men, once that feeling begins, continue to move forward until it's uncontrollable. But with the stop-start method, you learn to recognize the early signs and pause before that tipping point. You take a moment, breathe deeply, let the arousal subside slightly, and then resume. What this does is retrain your nervous system to tolerate higher levels of stimulation without triggering ejaculation. Over time, your body learns that it doesn't need to finish quickly. It can stay in that heightened state longer, more comfortably, and with more control. It's almost like strength training for your arousal reflex. The first few times it might feel challenging. You'll probably reach that edge quickly, and it may take effort to stop in time. But just like any other muscle or skill, consistency brings improvement. After a few sessions of mindful practice, your body begins to adjust. You start to notice that you can last longer before that urgency appears, and you feel more in command of your sensations instead of being driven by them. The squeeze technique complements this beautifully. It's simple but powerful. When you feel yourself getting too close to climax, apply gentle pressure at the base of the head of the penis, specifically where it meets the shaft. This helps interrupt the ejaculatory reflex and reduce arousal just enough to regain control. It's not about pain or force, it's about precision and timing. A light, well-timed squeeze can make the difference between finishing early and lasting through several waves of pleasure. With regular practice, your body begins to recognize that you have control over the process. You're no longer reacting impulsively, you're guiding the experience. Many men find it helpful to first practice these techniques alone, without pressure or expectation. This way, you can focus on identifying the sensations and learning exactly when to pause or squeeze. As you become more aware of your body's patterns, you'll notice that the signs are clear. Your breathing changes, the muscles around your pelvis tighten, and that familiar rush starts to build. That's your cue to stop, breathe, and reset. Over time, this awareness becomes automatic, and you can use it naturally during intimacy without it feeling mechanical or forced. But here's what makes these methods truly powerful. It's not just about delaying climax, it's about deepening your connection with your own body. You begin to feel more confident, more tuned in, and more patient. The anxiety that once surrounded performance starts to fade, replaced by calm control. When you're not constantly worrying about finishing too soon, you can actually focus on your partner, on the rhythm, on the pleasure. You shift from performing to experiencing. It's also important to understand that this kind of control isn't achieved overnight. It's a process of gradual conditioning. Just as a musician learns to feel the rhythm without counting the beats, you'll learn to sense your body's rhythm without overthinking. You'll begin to move with more awareness, to slow down when you need to, and to trust your ability to stay in control. The more you practice, the more you'll notice your confidence growing, not only in bed, but in the way you carry yourself in daily life. And something remarkable happens when you bring this level of presence into your intimate experiences. You start to realize that sex isn't just about lasting, it's about savoring. It's about enjoying every moment, every breath, every touch without rushing toward the end. The stop, start, and squeeze techniques are simply tools to help you build that presence and control until it becomes second nature, because lasting longer isn't about holding back, it's about learning how to stay fully present in the moment without losing yourself to it. And when you master that balance, you don't just gain control. You gain confidence, connection, and a deeper sense of pleasure that lasts far beyond the bedroom. If you've ever wondered why some men seem to have incredible control and endurance during intimacy, the secret often lies in a group of muscles you can't even see: the pelvic floor. These are the same muscles that control urination, support your organs, and play a critical role in sexual function. Strengthening them can dramatically improve your ability to last longer, maintain firmer erections, and enhance overall sensation. It's not about brute strength, it's about control, coordination, and endurance. And just like any other muscle in your body, your pelvic floor can be trained to perform better. Let's start by understanding what the pelvic floor really does. It's a sling-like group of muscles that stretch between your tailbone and pubic bone, acting like a support system for your bladder, bowel, and sexual organs. When these muscles are strong and responsive, they help you control ejaculation with precision. But when they're weak or untrained, they can't sustain that control for long, leading to early release or weaker stamina. The good news is, strengthening these muscles is completely within your power, and the changes can happen faster than you might expect. One of the most effective ways to train your pelvic floor is through what's known as Kegel exercises. Most people have heard of them, but very few truly understand how to do them correctly. The key is to first identify the right muscles. The easiest way to find them is to try stopping your urine mid-flow. The muscles you engage in that moment are your pelvic floor. Once you've identified them, you can begin to train them deliberately outside of urination. To perform a Kegel, tighten those muscles as if you're trying to hold back urine or stop gas from passing. Hold for 3 to 5 seconds, then relax completely. Start with 10 repetitions, 2 or 3 times a day, and gradually increase the duration and intensity as you get stronger. The goal isn't to clench as hard as possible, but to build endurance and control. Think of it like tuning an instrument. You're refining precision, not forcing power. Consistency is what makes the real difference. Within a few weeks of regular practice, many men notice that they're able to hold back longer and have more control over their arousal. Their erections feel firmer, and their confidence increases because they finally feel connected to the part of their body that governs their performance. And it's not just physical. Strong pelvic floor muscles improve blood flow, which supports better oxygen delivery and sensitivity, making the entire experience more enjoyable and responsive. But there's another layer to this that's just as important. Strength without balance can create tension, and tension can actually shorten your stamina. That's why it's crucial to pair strength training with relaxation. Between each contraction, take a deep breath and let your muscles completely release. Your pelvic floor should feel flexible and responsive, not tight or rigid. This balance between strength and relaxation gives you the ability to control arousal with finesse, not force. What's beautiful about this kind of training is how it naturally integrates with the other steps we've talked about. When you combine breath control, mental awareness, and pelvic strength, your body starts to function as a single, harmonious system. You're no longer at the mercy of your impulses. You can feel the sensations building, stay calm through them, and consciously decide when to hold back or let go. That's real mastery. It's also worth noting that pelvic floor exercises aren't just for improving stamina. They're an investment in long-term sexual health. As men age, pelvic muscle tone often decreases, which can contribute to issues like weaker erections or even incontinence. By maintaining this practice, you're not only enhancing your current performance, but also preserving your sexual vitality for years to come. It's one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to take control of your body and your health. You can make this part of your daily routine while brushing your teeth during a commute or even while watching TV. No one will ever know you're doing it, but the results will speak for themselves. Over time, you'll feel that inner strength and stability become second nature. When you're intimate, that same control will show up effortlessly, allowing you to stay in rhythm longer, maintain your composure, and experience deeper satisfaction. The goal isn't just to last longer, it's to build a body that supports your confidence, your energy, and your connection. Strengthening your pelvic floor gives you that foundation. Because when your core muscles are strong, your control isn't something you fight for, it becomes something you own. And from that moment on, every experience becomes not about lasting longer, but about lasting better. When men think about lasting longer in bed, they often focus on control, holding back, staying focused, managing sensations. But there's a deeper layer that's just as powerful and, in many cases, even more transformative. It's the ability to shift your focus away from performance and into connection. Because lasting longer isn't only about physical endurance, it's about how present and emotionally engaged you are in the moment. When your mind is chasing perfection, your body tightens. When your attention is consumed by worry, will I last? Am I satisfying my partner? You disconnect from the very experience you're trying to enjoy. But when you let go of that performance mindset and instead focus on connection, rhythm, and mutual pleasure, everything changes. Most men don't realize that anxiety is one of the biggest causes of premature climax. The fear of not performing well creates tension throughout the body, especially in the pelvic region, which makes it even harder to stay in control. It becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. The more you try to control it, the faster it happens. But when you reframe the experience from "I have to perform" to "I get to connect," the pressure fades. You begin to move from a place of relaxation, not resistance. That shift alone can completely transform your endurance. Imagine intimacy not as a task, but as a conversation, one that doesn't rely on words, but on rhythm, touch, and presence. When you focus on your partner's breathing, their movements, and their responses, you naturally slow down. You start to sync your energy with theirs. This flow creates a balance between giving and receiving, between stimulation and control. You stop thinking in terms of "how long can I last?" and start thinking in terms of "how deeply can we connect?" Ironically, that mindset often leads to longer, more satisfying experiences without even trying. It's also important to understand that your attention is one of the most powerful tools you have. Where your focus goes, your energy follows. If your thoughts are consumed by fear or self-judgment, your body responds with tension and loss of control. But if your focus is on your partner, on their pleasure, on the sensations you're sharing, you stay grounded. You stay in the present, and in the present, control feels effortless. This shift also deepens emotional intimacy. When you stop seeing sex as a performance to win and start experiencing it as an exchange to enjoy, your partner feels that change instantly. They sense your calmness, your confidence, your genuine interest in their pleasure. The atmosphere transforms from anxious and rushed to connected and fluid. Every touch feels more meaningful, every moment more electric. And that's when you both start to experience true fulfillment, not just physical satisfaction. Another important part of reframing intimacy is communication. Many people hesitate to talk openly about what feels good, what doesn't, or when they need to slow down. But honest communication isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of confidence. When you take the time to connect through words or subtle cues, you create a space where both of you can relax and explore without judgment. And the more relaxed you both are, the easier it becomes to maintain control naturally. This level of connection also helps you tune into your own sensations more clearly. You start to notice that moment when your excitement rises too quickly, and instead of panicking, you can use everything you've learned, your breathing, your muscle control, your awareness to steady yourself. You might slow your rhythm, change positions, or focus on your partner for a few moments. These subtle shifts are signs of maturity and mastery, not hesitation. They show that you're in control, that you understand your body and your partner's rhythm enough to keep the experience flowing smoothly. When you begin to approach intimacy with this mindset, something profound happens. You stop measuring success by how long you last and start measuring it by how connected you feel. You realize that real satisfaction isn't about endurance alone. It's about presence. It's about feeling every second instead of rushing through it. It's about making those moments count so deeply that neither of you are focused on the clock. So, as you continue practicing the steps we've discussed, mental awareness, breath control, muscle strength, remember that the ultimate goal isn't just to extend the experience, but to enrich it. When you shift from performance to connection, from anxiety to presence, from lasting longer to feeling deeper, you unlock the true potential of intimacy. Because the greatest form of control isn't about how long you can hold on, it's about how fully you can let go into the moment with confidence, awareness, and heart. If you truly want lasting change, real, sustainable control and confidence, it has to come from consistency. What you do outside the bedroom plays just as big a role as what you practice inside it. The body doesn't exist in separate parts. Your stamina, your focus, and your performance are all reflections of your overall health and lifestyle. You can learn every technique and master every method, but if your body is exhausted, your hormones are out of balance, or your energy levels are constantly low, it becomes much harder to apply what you've learned. That's why the final step in this method is all about creating a lifestyle that supports your endurance naturally every single day. Your body functions best when it feels rested, nourished, and strong. Sleep, for instance, is one of the most underestimated tools for improving sexual performance. When you sleep deeply, your body restores testosterone levels, regulates your nervous system, and rebuilds muscle strength, all crucial for lasting longer. Men who don't get enough sleep often experience reduced libido, quicker arousal responses, and lower energy overall. So one of the simplest ways to improve stamina is to prioritize quality sleep. Aim for 7 to 8 hours each night and keep a consistent routine. It might sound small, but your body and mind will thank you in ways that go far beyond the bedroom. Physical activity is another pillar of long-term improvement. Regular exercise, especially strength training and cardiovascular movement, enhances blood flow, strengthens your heart, and boosts confidence. These are direct contributors to better sexual function. Stronger circulation means stronger erections. A healthier heart means greater endurance, and a confident body means a confident mind. You don't need to spend hours in the gym. Just 30 minutes of movement most days can make a remarkable difference. Exercises like squats, bridges, or yoga also engage your pelvic floor muscles, which ties directly into the control we've already discussed. When your body feels powerful, you carry that power into every part of your life. Nutrition is another key part of the equation. The foods you eat affect your hormones, energy, and even your mood. Diets high in processed sugar, alcohol, or unhealthy fats can drain your energy and disrupt circulation. On the other hand, foods rich in omega-3s, antioxidants, and lean proteins support better blood flow and hormone balance. Think of whole foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, fish, olive oil. Hydration is just as important. Even mild dehydration can impact performance and focus. When your body is well fueled, your stamina increases naturally. You don't have to rely on quick fixes or supplements. You're giving your body what it needs to function at its best. Another often overlooked factor is stress. Chronic stress is one of the biggest barriers to lasting longer because it floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline, hormones that trigger fight or flight mode. In that state, your body prioritizes survival, not pleasure. Over time, constant stress can lead to fatigue, low testosterone, and even erectile difficulties. That's why finding ways to manage stress is essential. Meditation, mindfulness, or even just taking 5 minutes each day to breathe deeply can shift your nervous system from tension to calm. You start to carry that composure into intimacy, making it easier to stay relaxed, focused, and in control. It's also worth mentioning recovery, not just physical recovery, but emotional recovery. Your body and mind both need downtime. If you're always pushing yourself, whether at work, in the gym, or in your relationships, you'll eventually hit a wall. Taking time to rest, reflect, and recharge allows your energy and libido to rebuild. This balance is what separates short bursts of progress from long-term transformation. All of these habits, sleep, movement, nutrition, stress management, work together to create a body and mind that are resilient, balanced, and ready for connection. They support everything we've discussed in this method: mental awareness, breath control, muscle strength, and emotional presence. When your daily habits align with your goals, control stops being something you have to think about. It becomes a natural part of how you live. You'll begin to notice that the changes go far beyond the bedroom. Your energy improves, your focus sharpens, your mood stabilizes. You feel more confident, more centered, more in tune with yourself. And that inner stability is what allows you to stay composed even in the most intense moments. It's not about perfection. It's about progress, consistency, and care for your body. Lasting longer isn't just about mastering a few techniques. It's about creating a life that supports your best self. Because when your mind is calm, your body is strong, and your confidence comes from within, you don't just last longer. You perform with ease, passion, and purpose. And that's when control becomes effortless and satisfaction becomes inevitable.